Yay. Oh, cool. So I'm sorry about that. I've been rabbiting on and you haven't been able to hear me, but just a little bit of history about why stress reduction is so important to me, is that the number one thing I believe is that yoga stress is something that really affects our health. So I believe that we really need to work on our stress. So obviously stress can lead to overeating. It can lead to eating the wrong things because we're too busy. It can lead to just long-term physiological changes in the body because there are a chemical reaction when we're stressed. And my own personal story is that my father was 54 when he died of a heart attack, and he was a pretty healthy man. Like, he wasn't overweight, he didn't smoke, he wasn't a big drinker. He was very active, but he was a bit of a stress head. And he also did snore, which I'm sure had something to do with it. But for me, that's why stress reduction has become such a mission of mine. I would like to help everyone in the world reduce stress. That's something that's really important to me. All right. So before we start, my favorite yoga quote is, warning, yoga is known to cause health and happiness. So unless you really want health and happiness right now, then you might be in the wrong place. But I'm sure you do, because most people do. So grab a pen and paper in case you want to take notes, or you might learn something here that you want to remember later on. And I'm about to get started with the actual content. Again, apologies about the sound, but anyway, I'll know that for next time. So firstly, I want to talk a bit about why this webinar is aimed at women over 40. Yoga is really beneficial for everyone, and it's not just for women, and it's not just for women over 40. So men and women can benefit, and people of all ages can benefit. But I believe that women over 40 are a very special category for yoga because they have a specific set of circumstances they're working through, which is obviously the onset of perimenopause and menopause. So after the age of 35 to 40, women's estrogen levels do start to drop, so do their progesterone levels, and this has a profound effect on the body. And there really shouldn't be a lot of symptoms when it comes to menopause. Really, the main symptom should be the disruption to your period, so either getting more or less, heavier, lighter, and then eventually, obviously, the periods finish. But because we have so many disruptors in our lives nowadays, from stress, as I've talked about, to fast food, lots of preservatives in food, lots of hormone disruptors like estrogens that are found in plastics and all over the place, it's really not surprising that we have really bad menopauses nowadays. A lot of women suffer from really debilitating symptoms that can really impact their lives. And there are obviously medical options such as HRT, but we know that they're not particularly safe. I'm not saying there are some women where that's the only option, and I'm not trying to bash them, but I'm just saying, wouldn't it be great to look at other options to manage menopausal symptoms before you need to go to that level? So that's why women over 40 are a specific target for me to talk about yoga too, because this is something that can help them specifically throughout that period of their life. So we want to try and avoid things like hot flushes, weight gain, especially around the abdomen, mood swings. We want to try and avoid some of those things or minimize them at the very least. And yoga is just one of those tools you can pop in your toolbox and have there waiting for you, and use it whenever you need to. And if it becomes a bit of a way of life, that can help to really minimize some of those issues we can come across with menopause. So the first thing we want to talk about is how yoga will help with toning and strengthening when you're over 40. So what happens is, as our estrogen levels drop, we lose muscle tone and we lose bone density. So both of those things mean that the body can start to look a bit saggy. So when I've spoken to a lot of women recently over 40, usually the number one thing they say that they find frustrating about their bodies is that they're looking a bit saggy. Also, estrogen is carried in our fat cells. So because the body is starting to lose estrogen, it goes, hang on, how can I keep more estrogen? And what it does is it holds on to the fat cells. So it means it's harder to lose weight once you get into that perimenopausal part of your life. It's a double whammy. We're losing our muscle tone, and we're also holding on to weight more. So this can lead to women feeling really undesirable and lead them to feel really bad about themselves, which then, of course, leads to stress, and it can lead to feelings of low self-esteem, mood swings, lots of different things. I mean, there's so much in the media about looking beautiful that when these sort of things start to happen, they can really affect people's personalities and their quality of life. Now, the other thing that starts to happen for women in their 40s and 50s is that joint pain and muscle pain starts to increase. So again, because of the lowering of the estrogen, the elasticity in our joints becomes less. So if you think about your skin as well, your skin starts to get a bit less elastic as you get older, and it's the same thing for all the muscles and tendons, because they're sort of made out of similar tissue. Which means that if you start a rigorous exercise program trying to lose weight, your body's going to hurt more, and you're more likely to go, this isn't for me, I don't like to exercise, or you're going to get injured, or you're going to really not enjoy it. Or when you do exercise regularly, you're still going to wake up every morning feeling with, having aches and pains. So this is two big problems for women as they come into and through menopause, because they're not feeling good. When they try to do something about how they look and feel, they feel sore and tired. So weight-bearing exercise is really important for women at this age group, because, again, with the lack of bone density as estrogen falls, we can end up having things like osteoporosis. So it's a challenge. We need to manage all of these things. And that's where yoga comes in, because yoga actually is a weight-bearing exercise. We're using our own body weight to exercise with. So some of those poses that you might be familiar with, like downward facing dog, obviously we're using our body weight. We're using our arms to hold us up. So things like that, where yoga is really gentle on the joints. It's not jumping up and down and, being really hardcore. So again, it's a gentle way of getting the body feeling stronger. So when we're using our body weight or any kind of weight as a weight-bearing exercise, that will help to strengthen the muscles, give it more muscle tone, and help to lessen the pain, give us back a bit more of a stronger looking body rather than a sagging looking body. So that's how yoga really helps with the toning aspect, and why it's so important after we're 40 to start weight-bearing exercises. And the most gentle way I know is with our yoga practice. So one of the great poses, and I just mentioned it, was downward facing dog. So we will be talking about a little yoga sequence at the end of this webinar, but the one that I would love to talk about at the moment is downward facing dog. It's a really great way to strengthen, especially the upper part of our bodies. So I love a quote. I'm a bit of a quote fan, and one of my favorite ones to sum up this is, the future depends on what you do in the present. So that's Mahatma Gandhi, of course, saying something clever. And if you want to have a strong body that you feel proud of, that has minimal amounts of pain in the joints and in the muscles, then you need to start now and do something about that now. Okay, so that's our first one, talking about toning. Our second strategy is about stress, why yoga is important for stress, and why stress becomes common when we're over 40. So it's really common to feel stressed and overwhelmed when you're in your 40s and 50s. And think about it. You may have kids. Your kids may be becoming teenagers. They're not particularly easy. You might also have elderly parents that you're looking after. So you've got both the kids and the elderly parents. You might be feeling trapped in a financial situation that you have built up over years, and you might feel like, I don't like my job, but I can't leave my job because I've got this debt to pay. Or maybe your partner's in that situation, so that's putting stress on the family. Your relationship might be not the same as it was 10 years ago. And so these are just things that happen. And unfortunately, this is all happening around the same time as our menopausal symptoms are happening, which means we might not be the same person we were 10 years ago as well, which can put strain and stress on relationships. And the other problem is at this point in our lives, you can become really entrenched in some bad habits. So, bad health and well-being habits. You might be really entrenched into a number of glasses of wine at night on the couch, or you might be really entrenched into 10 cups of coffee a day. Gosh, I hope not, but you could be. And so, there's all of those things that you're trying to contend with and come out the other side of trying to start new habits. And then we try and start a new habit and we don't do it properly and we fail and the perfectionism kicks in. We're like, we're a failure. Oh my gosh. You know what I mean? So that's where all that stress starts to happen. And at the same time, as I mentioned before, we're holding on to weight around the belly because of estrogen and because of the lowering of our estrogen. So this makes us feel, frumpy. It makes us feel undesirable, which affects our stress levels as well. Now, what happens is when we are stressed and when we have a long-term level of stress in our lives, what will happen is a reaction happens in the body, and that's the fight or flight reaction. And that's supposed to happen when we're stressed, but it's supposed to happen and then go away. But if we've got a constant level of stress going on, then we're always in fight or flight mode. And what happens then is the blood flow goes to our extremities, to our hands and our legs and our arms, so we can run away or fight this stress. And we don't have blood flow to the abdomen. We don't have blood flow for our digestion. We start to get bloated. We start to get sluggish. We start to not feel great. So we're bloated, feeling fat and frumpy. And then what also happens is we start to increase our cortisol levels. So more and more cortisol comes into the body, and that means our body naturally holds on to abdominal fat so that we have stores of fat in case we need to fight a tiger or, fight off stress. So it's a double whammy. When we're not digesting properly, we're bloated in the tummy, we're holding on to fat from our cortisol production, and perhaps we're holding on to fat because of our estrogen lowering down. More and more stress. So the other thing that happens is our adrenal glands would like to help out during menopause and help to produce estrogen for us because our ovaries are not producing as much. But if we're constantly producing things like cortisol, then we're missing out on that extra boost of estrogen naturally from our adrenals. So all these reasons why it's really important to start managing stress and finding ways to look after our stress response and minimize our stress response once we get over 40. So one of the best ways to combat stress is to take big, deep abdominal breaths. And when I say that, we breathe in through the nose, let the belly can expand, let the chest expand. And then when we exhale, let the belly contract, let the chest contract, and inhale and exhale. And they take a while. You can't take short abdominal breaths. It's not actually possible. And so what that tells the brain is if I've got time to take big, deep breaths, I must be safe. There's no reason to be stressed, and it turns the stress response off. Simple, huh? It's something we can control ourselves. And this is where yoga is beautiful because we concentrate on the breath. We start the practice with the breath. We finish the practice with the breath. And as much as we can throughout the practice, we practice our breath. So yoga is such an important way to reduce stress, to train the body to reduce stress, and in that way reduce that abdominal layer of fat, reduce the cortisol rushing around the body, and help our whole body to work better. Get that extra estrogen from our adrenals that we need during this menopausal time. So one of my favorite poses for this one is a child's pose, where I'll go through that a bit later on, but it's a beautiful place to stop and take some breaths. Feel the abdomen moving against your legs as you breathe in and out. So we'll talk about that a bit later when we do our class. So my quote for this section, because I do love a quote, is yoga doesn't take time, it gives time. So yes, we need to use time to practice yoga, but if we're less stressed the rest of our life because, around our yoga practice, because we're taking those big deep breaths and allowing ourselves to leave the stress response behind, then we actually become more productive. We become, happier people, and life becomes better. So that's how yoga gives us time. It gives us something that we're really looking forward to, which is a happy life. Now, the last thing I want to talk about is feeling tired and depleted and how yoga will help this. So once we move into our 40s and 50s, as I said, we see lots of changes in our body, and we have lots of kind of responses going on with our cortisol and all those types of things. So what we actually find out is that we don't bounce back as quickly. Like our skin doesn't bounce back as quickly, neither do we. So if we've had a late night, it takes longer to get over it. Our skin's not bouncing back, our bodies don't look the same, and we're really busy with kids and family and work and all those things. And most women I talk to are like, I don't have time for myself, in their 40s especially. I don't have time, I've got everything else. And then we're surrounded by these beautiful images of perfect, happy, lovely people on the media, and even on Facebook. People don't share their sad things, they just say when they're perfectly happy. So then that leads to this stressful, counterintuitive response. We're too busy, so we treat ourselves by having a bit too much wine on the couch, or we eat a bit too much chocolate and cheese because, I deserve that. And then we might use a lot of chemical-laden skin products to make us look younger and feel better. But this all has an impact on our body, and it has an impact on our hormonal response, and it has an impact on how we feel. So what happens is the liver starts to get bombarded with things that it needs to detox, and we just don't have the energy to actually perform at our best because the body's weighed down by slugging through all of this kind of sludge that we're putting into our bodies and on our skin and all those other things. So then we feel tired and we feel depleted. We feel like we're always running on empty. We're not catching up. And it just becomes an emotional turmoil. So taking up a yoga practice will really help with this anguish because you've taken some action. So sometimes stress is around because we haven't done anything about what's stressing us. So taking action is really important. But what I love most about our yoga practice, and when we get really deep into it, is we learn to love our bodies more. We learn to say, wow, I couldn't do that thing last week, but look at me now, I can do it. We learn to start caring about what we put into our bodies. We learn to respect ourselves, and through respecting ourselves, we learn to respect other people as well. So that means there's an ongoing ripple effect to all the people around us. And it really helps us to become more energetic and more excited about life. And one of the things I love a lot about yoga is the whole concept of metta, which is loving kindness. And for those people that come to my yoga classes, I say that at the beginning of all my classes. The room is filled with loving kindness, to be kind and gentle to yourself. And if we learn that, then we can learn that if I'm tired, I need to rest. If I'm not feeding myself well, I'm going to get tired. I need to feed myself well. So you learn a lot of bigger lessons, I think, when you start a yoga practice. So one of the poses I love for energizing is powerful pose. And again, we'll go through that shortly. So what I love about a quote that I love to sum up this section is trust the vibe you get because your energy doesn't lie. So what yoga helps you to do is learn to feel into your body and to notice how your body feels. And you learn to trust that. So you learn that I need to take a rest, or what can I do to help myself feel better, as opposed to often we feel bad, so we make ourselves feel worse. Okay. So now I wanted to take you through a yoga class. And unfortunately, I've had 2 tech issues already tonight, because one was with my headset and I wasn't actually talking to you. Sorry about that again. But the other thing was I wanted to share with you some yoga pictures, but it doesn't look like my computer system is letting me do that. So we're going to have to talk through this. It's going to be a bit different to how I was expecting it to be. First of all, I want us to start with the breath. So I love to start all of my classes with the breath. And what we practice is the Ujjayi breath. So I'm hoping you guys are going to play along with me right now and practice your breath. So we start by breathing in through the nose and out through the mouth. When we breathe out, we sigh out and we say, ha, feeling a warming, vibrating feeling in the throat. So let's try that. Breathe in through the nose and breathe out through the mouth. That's it. So breathe in and breathe out. So notice now, when you breathe in, keep going, breathe in, feel your chest and your belly expand. Let's do some big, deep abdominal breaths, and breathe out and feel those contract. A couple more. Breathe in through the nose, feel the chest and belly expand, and breathe out through the mouth. We'll do one more. In through the nose and out through the mouth. Okay, beautiful. Now we're going to breathe in and out through the nose. So this is our proper Ujjayi breath. So we inhale through the nose and we exhale through the nose, still feeling that warming, vibrating feeling. So it's, and again, inhale and exhale. We'll do 2 more of those. You probably can start feeling the energy, the chi building in your body. You might feel a bit lightheaded, but that's fine. You might feel the energy through your body as well. It's quite an interesting feeling. One more. Inhale through the nose and exhale through the nose. Beautiful. So now we're going to practice easy breathing. So if you're sitting in your chair, or if you like to, you can get onto the floor. So just however is comfortable. But if you start sitting in your chair, just rest your hands on your knees. You can't see my knees. But we inhale, sit up as tall as you can. And on the exhale, pull the belly in and round out the back. Look down towards your tummy. And inhale, sit up tall again. Let the back be nice and tall without being too rigid. Exhale, pull the belly in, rounding out your back. So it's like a big C shape, looking down, trying to keep the shoulders relaxed. One more inhale. And we're going to exhale, pull the belly in, round out the back, looking down. Beautiful. All right. So I was going to take you through a few more poses, and I can't demonstrate them for you without taking headset off. If I take the headset off, you can't hear me. So I would like to talk you through what we're going to do. So if you're at home and you're comfortably dressed, if you go to your hands and knees, push the palms into the floor, tuck your toes under, and slowly lift your knees and straighten your knees as much as is comfortable. So your tailbone's in the air. We're in downward facing dog now. Just let your head relax, pull the belly in, press your hands equally into the floor, and push your belly towards your thighs. And just stay here and take some breaths. This is a great toning exercise. You can feel that in your upper body. Feel the stretch. You strengthen through this pose. So eventually it becomes a resting pose as you become stronger. Take one more inhale and exhale. And then bend your knees, look forward towards your hands, and step in until you're in a forward fold. So forward fold means your legs are sort of straight and your head's just hanging down. I'm going to take the headset off for a second to show you. So you just let the top part of your body just hang naturally down. Take 1 or 2 breaths there and then slowly roll up into a standing position. Do you feel a bit taller? I love that when you roll up and you feel like you're stacking your spine on top of each other and you're feeling quite tall. All right. So now we're coming into powerful pose. So I want you to bring your feet together and your knees are together, and bend your knees. Sink your tailbone to the floor. So another name for this is chair pose. So imagine you're sitting in your chair. If your chair's there, come almost down to your chair. Bring your arms above your head and pull your belly in and take some breaths. You'll feel this in your large muscles, in your legs and your glutes. This is why it's a powerful and energizing pose, because it will help you to strengthen and bring all that blood flow to those big muscles. So take one more inhale and exhale and come back up to your standing position. And now I'd like you to just start to hinge forward from your hips, come back into your forward fold and step back out to plank. So into downward dog. So put your hands onto the floor and step back, push the tailbone in the air, pull the belly in, push the belly and chest towards your thighs. Taking some breaths. And now bring your knees to the floor, bring your tailbone back towards your heels, leave your arms out in front and you're in child's pose. Take a couple of breaths here. I would have loved to have been able to show you the pictures, but unfortunately I need to get something sorted on my webinar software. What am I trying to say? Okay, so basically that is the presentation tonight. I just wanted to talk to you about why yoga is so important. And obviously right now, for some of you, you might be thinking, yeah, but how do I actually get involved in yoga, or what can I do? So obviously I do have classes here in Albany if you're based in Albany, and you're more than welcome to come along and try them out if you're not already. But I also have an online yoga program, and I'm just going to open up. You should be able to see underneath some information now about my Go With The Flow program, which is starting again on Monday. So you can click on that link and look at some information about my Go With The Flow program, which is a 6-week program, and it is quite cool. So basically anyone in the world can start a yoga practice nowadays, because you can do my yoga program online. So what you get is a 6-week yoga program. You have 6 classes. You have also a weekly mindset video. So learning about that yoga practice and how it affects your well-being in terms of your mindset and how you come to the world. You also get a weekly healthy living habit and a weekly question and answer call, so that you can ask me questions personally. And you also get lifetime access. So as I update the program, change the program around, you can keep coming back and do it as often as you like. So what you can expect is to feel fitter, stronger, more flexible and calmer. You'll have improved sleep, better productivity, more motivation, and as a result, everyone around you, that ripple effect starts to happen. You'll sail through those minor upsets and you'll feel more resilient. You'll have an excuse to go shopping for those smallest clothes sizes, because you'll be starting to get that toned kind of body. And you'll decide that you're worth looking after, and you'll start to fuel yourself with better food and just feel overwhelmingly better. And you'll also start to free up some brain space, let go of some of the worries that you might have at the moment and feel a bit calmer and more relaxed. So it starts on Monday, as I said, and I've just had the first round finish off, and I had a few people just email me and let me know what they thought. And one of them said, Emma's ability to connect via the web made for a really inclusive experience. Paramount when living remotely makes joining a fitness class non-existent. So this person doesn't live she lives in a country town and can't get to classes. There were lots of opportunities for consultation and plenty of practical advice every week, including suggestions for additional info or ideas. So it's like signing up for a class where you get to pick and choose the time of the day that best suits you. You can never be late or miss a class. Excuse me. So that was really nice. And one of my other clients from the last round said, thank you for your gentle guidance and understanding, Emma. She really listens and provides options that I can take or leave to help me find who I am and where I want to be without trying to force us into any particular direction. I love Emma's no pressure, loving kindness approach. I will definitely be doing this course again. So really lovely to hear that sort of feedback. But I really believe that the program helps you find what you need to find at that particular moment in time. So it's a 6-week course, and it's only $147 for the whole 6 weeks, which is about the same as going to a yoga class yourself, but you get all the additional benefits. So you can get more information by clicking on that link. You can also subscribe to my free video series. So there's a video series for women over 40. And it includes things, a toning routine to do at home, but also more information about sort of becoming calmer and becoming less stressed. And you're also more than welcome at any stage to book a free 30-minute discovery session with me. If you'd like to learn more about working with me privately and, you know, the sort of things that I offer, then you're more than welcome to click on that link and join me for a free 30-minute session. The other thing I just wanted to mention is this month I do have a special offer where if you join my Go With The Flow program or sign up for a 10-class pass here locally in Albany, you will go into the draw for a Fitbit Ultra, which is valued at $199. And it's a really nice looking, it's actually the one I wear. Not this one, you'll win a new one. But that's available as a special offer as well. So I really appreciate you for being here tonight. And I'm just wondering if there's any specific questions on anything I've covered tonight, especially all that information at the beginning about being over 40 and dealing with some of those pressures. So there's the chat box there. If you would like to ask any questions at all, I would love to hear from you, and I'll stay here for a few moments to see if there's any questions. So yeah, just let me know. Or even say no questions, just so that I know that you've heard me. I'll just take a sip of water while I wait. Well, it looks like there aren't any questions. So I've been online now for 44 minutes and 23 seconds. I can see that on my side of things. So I'll just wait here until it's been 46 minutes just to give you a bit more time. But otherwise, I really appreciate you being here. You can have a look at that offers page and just see what offers are available there. If you want to click on any of the links, there's no obligation for any of it, but if you want more information, there's the place to look for it. And it's been really lovely having a chat to you tonight, and I hope to have more webinars in the future because there's obviously lots that I'd love to share with you all, and just hoping that you got something out of it. Even if you want to send me a little message now and tell me what you got out of something that you learned tonight that you might be able to factor into your life, I'd love to know what that is. So last 30 seconds. You're more than welcome to go though, by the way, if you haven't already, unless you've got something specific you want to ask. Oh, thank you, Christine. I appreciate it. It's good to know someone's there. And thanks for letting me know that you couldn't hear me. That was really helpful. Otherwise, I could have rabbited on for an hour with no one listening or no one hearing. All right, guys, I hope you have a wonderful evening. Make sure you send me an email or let me know if you've got any questions after this. But I really appreciated you being here, and I'll speak to you soon. Bye.